Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. You know the deal. You read the title, you saw the thumbnail. I'm your pal Wes, but today you call me Uli Behringer because I'm going to teach you how to copy and paste on the Elektron devices. All right, let's get right into it. I'm going to be showing you all these techniques on the Syntac today, but it is worth noting that these key combos and copy, paste, clear, undo techniques are going to persist across the entirety of the Elektron line of devices. So everything that I show you here is going to work on the Digitac, the Digitone, it's going to work on the analog rhythm, the analog 4, and even the model cycles and samples, so on and so forth. We're going to get right into it and talk about the sequencer copy and paste commands first, but before we do that, there are two things to always keep in the back of your mind here. And the first is that the Elektron copy clipboard can only hold one copy at a time. So what that means is if you copy a trig and then you go and you copy a page or you copy a sequence, you're always going to be overwriting the last thing that you copied. So you need to be very deliberate with how you're copying and pasting things, and that kind of leads into the second point. There's no strict undo functionality in any of the Elektron devices. There are certain things that can be undone, and I will show you that, but it's really important when you get into this copy paste workflow that you're taking advantage of your temp area saves, which is function yes, and that way if you get too far into the weeds or you mess something up, you can always reload back to where you were. Okay, so let's get into it and talk about the sequencer commands first here. These are the easiest ones, right? So of course you can hold any trig and hit copy and you'll copy that trig. You can also hold multiple trigs and hit copy and copy multiple trigs, right? So you can then go to another place and hit paste and paste those three trigs. If you're like, oh no, I didn't like that, you can not undo pasting trigs, unfortunately. So make sure that when you're pasting trigs, they are where you want to be and that you're not messing up. I don't want those to be there, so we're going to reload back to the temp save, right? Bam, that's that functionality right off the bat. If you want to copy a whole page of sequencer data, so let's say, you know, this page I really like, you can hold page and hit copy, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've copied that page. I find this really helpful if, let's say, you've got, you know, a kick track here, which has got a couple of, you know, fill trigs, some conditional programming in there, and let's say that I want to copy this entire sequencer track and then put it on the effects track here, right? So bam, I can copy that entire track with function copy, and then I can go to the effects track, which actually already has that data in there, but let's clear that track with function clear and then paste it in there again, right? So that's pretty cool, pretty nifty. If you don't like that, this is one that you can undo with function and paste again. So that is also something that's rather nice if you want to, you know, paste a track and then undo that paste, what have you. You can undo that one. You can copy a page and then move to the next page, paste that page. You can undo a paste of a page as well. So pretty nifty. Now it is also worth noting that with certain devices, if you're going from machine to machine, the Elektron copy clipboard will do its best to retain as much data as it can, but like, let's say we go from this analog raw machine track and we copy, you know, maybe, I don't know, this trig, which has a little bit of, you know, parameter locking on the envelope, the filter, there's some weird stuff on the LFO, and let's maybe even, you know, do something like this and move one of those around and change the overdrive. Let's copy this trig and then go to this clap track and put this one here and paste that, and you'll notice that it will retain certain data in there, but not all of the data. See, the filter didn't carry over, the amp did its best, and the LFO settings obviously also did not come over. So, you know, that's a little bit of an interesting, you know, kind of little caveat there to pasting in between different types of machines and tracks. I've noticed that digital machines kind of translate a little bit more, going from analog to digital or analog to analog. This, you know, it's a little bit wacky. But that leads us away from the sequencer and into the next place that you can copy and paste that stuff. If you do want to retain that data, like let's say that I really love this filter frequency modulation that I've set up on this analog track with this LFO here. You can hold LFO and copy the LFO page, right? Then if we hop over to any different type of track, we can paste that LFO frequency modulation, as long as the tracks retain the same LFO destination slots. So if you were trying to do it on, you know, like let's say this, let's change this to the oscillator detune, right? And then we copied that, and then we went over to this one and we wanted to paste. It's gonna do that, but it's gonna just change it to the set modulation space where that control is. So like for this machine, it's modulation, right? This bottom one. And for this one, it was, you know, the detune there. So pop, 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 pop. Gets a little bit wacky, but you could have some happy accidents doing it this way. And I just messed this whole pattern up. So let's reload, of course, which is very nice. Keep that reload in your brain. And then it's always nice to, you know, get another temp save in there when we mess things up. So yeah, every page can be copied. That's quite nice. You can also reload the page back to the temp save. So like, let's say we jacked this all up and we did some wacky stuff here. If you hold the page and hit no, it'll reload it back to the temp save. So if we were playing around with this little acid line I've got here, we could very quickly go back to where we were. And then, you know, maybe I like that a little bit better, so I'll save it in there. Maybe I'll bring this second LFO up and the noise. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of a lot. And I'll hit page no to reload back to where the temp save was, right? So that's really nifty. It's kind of like a more macro way to dial in, because we of course know that we can hold track and adjust every single track's filter or control by doing that, but then reload back to the temp save with function no. But if we wanted to, you know, maybe just mess with this filter here and get it wacky and play with the envelope a little bit, and then bam, we can go back to where we were at our temp save. So that's really, really helpful, especially for performance, you know, based stuff. I really like being able to lay down a temp save and then play with like a bunch of different functions, maybe mute some stuff, just absolutely muck things up, and then bam, back to where we were. It's very, very nice. So your page settings, if you were to copy and paste, you can also undo a page copy by hitting paste again. Of course, you could clear the page as well. And if you were like, oh no, I don't want to do that, you could undo the clear. Basically, if you want to try to undo something, just hit the same command that you did again, and you'll end up, you know, undoing if it is possible. If it's not possible, which is mostly happening in the sequencer view there, with trigs specifically, then it won't do it. And that's where, again, this temp save is gonna save your butt, I promise you. All right, continuing right on along, what about sounds, okay? What about the entirety of a sound? Well, you can do that too. Like, I've got two of these claps here because I'm using two different kind of clap patterns in this thing, in this little sequence, and I've got some different fill trigs on them, but let's say I wanted a third. Well, if we were going to select the track that we wanted and then hit track, copy, it's gonna copy the track sound, right? So then we could go to this one, which is, you know, this little hi-hat thing. We get it track and paste, and it's gonna paste that sound for us. Beautiful. If we want to undo that, you can undo that. Wonderful. Easy peasy. Beautiful. Mwah, mwah. Love it. Okay, so let's say I'm liking this pattern here, and I want to make a copy of this pattern, and then bada bing, bada boom, add some more stuff on top of it, but I want to be able to, you know, retain what I've got here and move on along, right? Well, you can certainly copy a pattern too. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hit pattern, we're gonna hold it, we're gonna hit function, and then we're gonna hit copy. It's gonna copy the whole pattern for us, right? So then we could come over to another pattern and we could paste. Well, we could hit function and then hit paste. And it's gonna paste the entirety of the pattern into this new pattern, right? So now we got two copies of the exact same thing. You can see it's gonna pop over from 7 to 5, bada bing, bada boom. And now over to the next one. That was a good little, love it. I really like to copy and paste patterns because you can, you know, of course, do different pattern mutes and change things up a little bit. It makes it really easy to go from one space to another, you know, especially with like a device like the Syntact where you can have a ton of different ideas all on one pattern, and you could mute things and then, you know, hop to a different pattern and you've got a whole new set of mutes. It's all gonna retain the same information. It's wonderful. But what about those names, right? So let's say that I want to copy and paste a name. Well, gosh darn it, you could do that too. Let's go into our pattern menu here and look at this. Copy that name, baby. And then we could go out of this menu. Let's go out of this menu and we could go into a brand new pattern, and then we could go into that pattern's naming scheme, and bada bing, bada boom, we could hit paste and it'll paste that name for us. So that's pretty cool. And then we could maybe call this one Acid Tracks 2 because it's number 2. Acid Tracks 2, right? But actually, where I want that to be is, gosh darn it, I want that on the second pattern that we had there. So let's go over here, let's go into this pattern, rename it function, paste that name, okay? So that's pretty nifty, pretty easy little workflow there, and gosh darn it, I just like it, okay? I like copying, I like pasting. Once you get this sort of like really quick workflow down, you're gonna be rolling, you're gonna be grooving, you're gonna be making so many hot acid tracks patterns, you're not gonna know what to do with them all, okay? This bad boy can fit so much acid in it, it's ridiculous. Okay, but you bet your butts there's a few more places we can copy and paste things. What if we want to manage a project? And what if we say, oh man, I really like where I'm going with this whole project, but gosh darn it, I want to copy that project. Well, you could hit it 2 times and it could bug out a little bit for you, but then bada bing, bada boom, baby, we're gonna copy that project. And then we could come down here and we could say paste. We could replace with a paste. And it's gonna do it. It's gonna lag a little bit, but this little syntax needs an update. Okay, well, you know what? There's one more thing that you can copy and paste that I have actually just discovered, sitting here saying, is there anything else that you can copy and paste? And you know what? It is some config menus. So let's say we've got this keyboard config here, right? You can hold function and copy that config. And then you could go over to this one here, this new track, and say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna paste that config. Or you could change it, you know, mess around, and you could say, paste that config one more time. Or you could go to a whole new pattern, which is something that is worth noting even here at the end, is that if you copy something and you head over to a brand new pattern or even a new project, as long as you haven't copied something else, you can hold function, blast that paste button, and bada bing, bada boom, you have pasted it. It's really handy, it's really nifty, and you know what? Once you start to fully kind of memorize what all you can copy, you can paste, how these things can work into your workflow, you are gonna be rolling. It's gonna make working with these devices incredibly fast and easy, because it's really nice to be able to, you know, grab like whole freaking little bada bing, 2 trigs here, copy. I like the way they sound. You know what? Put them over here. This one, copy, paste it right there. These 2 now, copy, paste them right there. Bada bing. These 3, copy them, go to this next page, paste it right there, but not that one. Oh no, not that one, but maybe another copy of over here, but not that one either. And then maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, yikes. Copy all those bad boys. Here's a whole nother page, paste them. Jeebers peepers, we've messed this whole thing up. Let's reload from the tab. Okay, and that is gonna just about do it. This has been a comprehensive guide to copying, pasting, clearing, undoing pages, sequencers, names, configs, whatever the hell you want. Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments. Do you, like my plant? Let me know down in the comments. If you've liked this sort of, unhinged, quick paced sort of tutorial video, then hey, you know what? You can hit that subscribe button, you can hit like, you can check out some of the links, do whatever the hell you want to do. But most importantly, go make some music, have some fun, be nice to each other, love as much as you possibly can. I have been your pal Wes. This has been my stupid YouTube channel, and we will see you next time, everybody.